Hello and welcome to season 2 of G Sessions. This is our 4th installment. My name is Alyssa Kritzman and I'll be your host today. Before we chat with today's talented guest, I just want to take this time to remind you all why we are here. G Project is a platform where people can express themselves through storytelling, art, music, and anything related to their heritage in hopes of finding common ground. So we invite you all to listen, learn, and participate with an open mind as we bring people of all backgrounds together. And of course, if you feel moved to submit your own story, we would love to hear from you. So please visit gproject.org to do so. Without further ado, please welcome our guest, Carlos Dominguez.
Hello.
Hello, welcome, Carlos.
How are you?
Doing great. How are you? We're super excited to have you on today.
I'm super excited to be here.
That's wonderful. So Carlos is a graphic designer with a penchant for photo editing, Instagram, and the iconic Lady Gaga. He studied design at the University of Connecticut and Central St. Martin's, which is in London, where I know him from. And previously, just to touch on some of his work experience, he designed for New York studio Tandem, and most notably, it's where he worked on the congressional campaign of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, which I'm personally really excited to hear a little bit about in this session. And he's currently a designer for Sandow Media, where he closely works for a few different magazine publications. So Carlos, welcome to our Facebook Live. I'd love for you to share with everyone what you do in your current design role and elaborate maybe on a project or two that might have challenged you to learn something new about a topic or a type of audience.
Yeah, so currently I'm a designer, marketing editorial designer at Sandow Media. So previously I was at Metropolis Magazine, which was a publication as well. And they were brought onto Sandow Media, and I was brought back into Sandow Media with them as well. And since then I've been doing kind of like, marketing campaigns, editorial design. So I work with our marketing team and events team to plan like big events. And right now what we're doing, everything is digital. So everything is now phased out into digital. And hopefully when things get better after COVID, we would love to have new events and, get our work out there again. So with Metropolis, I had worked with them on the NYC by Design Guide. So it's a big design festival. I worked on just designing the magazine as well with my art director, Travis, and editor-in-chief, Avi. And right now I work with them again, and I also work with Interior Design Magazine, and I also work with other Sandow brand media brands that, we do the marketing design as well for them as in that sense. And I guess like previously I was at Tandem, and at Tandem I was able to work with AOC very closely on her campaign. And it's something that, was such a touching point in my career where I was able to, start fresh and young and have, working with this grassroots movement with her and, with the team at Tandem. And it was such a, beautiful experience to, work with her closely and, vision her look and her campaign and her brand. And that's something that we are very proud of. And I think that the team was proud of it in general as well.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. And there was so much commentary on how successful, obviously, she won that campaign. But from a design perspective, that's a project that really has to reach such a broad audience and have that impact on people and encourage them to vote. It just doesn't end, when they receive that collateral, but you have to educate people on who the candidate is and ultimately get them to the polls, right? So that's really incredible. What was that research process like for you and the team? Did you have to, go out into the community? Did you have to get specific feedback that helped inform the design?
So like our studio at that time was based in Union Square. And at the time we called her Sandy, which was because there was 2 Alexes at the bar that she used to work at. So we used to go there for lunches and happy hours, and we would talk with her, get to know her coworkers. And we got to know her real deep and like what she was about, and like having those personal connections with her, like just like talking about, you know, just things that we like all like had in common, or like for example when I spoke to her about like Latino like things that I like, you know, would talk to her about Selena and like all like, you know, pop culture things that I, you know, that she embodies herself now, and she's still the Sandy that we know and is, and she's so um you know, I don't know how to say it, like transparent. It's her. It's who she is. And I
very
think
authentic.
yeah, authentic in that sense. And authentic to her community. You know, that's what we connected those dots, and we kind of did some research based on her herself, her community, and you know, her what she's representing. And we wanted to value that. So we did a lot of research, you know, just like really old congressional campaigns, and just like, you know, brought some Mexican heritage into the campaign as well. Just, you know, even the two tildes where like it's the exclamation points that are one is like that and the other one is like that. And it was just like, you know, touching those like Hispanic and Latino heritage moments are what made the brand unique, and it made it, you know, just speak to, you know, the Latino community, because that's the most of the community that she was representing. And we the designers, Maria and I, we wanted to kind of embody that. And yeah, just lots of research. And we eventually got her feedback. We did a little survey when she came into the office, and she looked at all the options we had laid out for her. And she was just like, this resonates with me. This doesn't resonate with me. And like, in that sense, we kind of brought it down, and we just like, it was that one. And we just knew that it was that mark when we had that on the screen for her. And
that's what,
yeah.
Yeah, I think it's really amazing that you were able to bring her campaign to life, and you know, take a fresh look, in my opinion, at a political campaign that, you know, sometimes the political scene can get a little redundant, and the color schemes and the approach with the American flag, and, you know, always in the background. But how can you push it a little bit further, right, and get excited about different topics that are important to them. So on a personal note, I noticed that you incorporate a lot of collage work into your designs. So I was curious to know what sort of inspires that approach, or who might inspire that?
Good question. I think I'm such a very like analog designer, in a sense where like I definitely like prefer like, you know, cutting things out. And I think this goes back to, since I was a little kid, I used to always like, you know, just do like paper mache things, and always, you know, very much more tactile in that sense. And I think, you know, getting to know the world of design, getting to know the world of fashion, a little bit of fashion as well, and, you know, pop culture too, those kind of things blended into me. And I kind of, when I do my collage work, I kind of, you know, mix that thinking, and also mix my graphic design knowledge, and then I mix my tactile work as well. And I kind of, you know, make that happen. And sometimes when, you know, when I did for Metropolis, I did a couple of illustration collages, especially specifically one with the healthcare. I took all these like healthcare brands, and I just like looked at their colors, their color scheme, their typography, and I was like, let me embody these little tiny movements, and, you know, take that color here, take that color there, and just like unify them, and then just like this beautiful handmade collage. And I cut out all the things, and I put them together, and like I have a series of photographs I laid out, and then I like take I think about like 50 photographs. So just the process of where I started the collage and to the end. And then I think I go back and I prefer that position of where that bottle was, or where that color, little paper cutout color that I put. And I kind of just do that in that sense. And I think I was very much inspired by doing this when I was a little kid. And I think those little things that when I was doing when I was young inspired me today, and also including my graphic design background, and just everything in the world that's happening definitely influences my collage work.
Yeah, that's cool. And it had me thinking, you know, it's very metaphorical for just the world that we live in, all of these aesthetically bringing all these different components together, pieces of different lives and components that we all sort of exude, and just to tell this one narrative. So I think it's really, really cool that you are able to do that in your work. And for anyone that's listening, definitely visit Carlos. What is it? Carlos by Carlos.
Yeah, carlosbycarlos.us, or my Instagram as well. I post a lot of my collages there. Carlos by Carlos on Instagram.
Yeah, definitely check it out. And you can also see his work on AOC's campaign. So before I ask this next question, which is something that we ask all of our guests, I want to just recap what the G stands for in G Project. So G0 means that you were born elsewhere, G1 means that you're first generation, and G5 you're fifth generation born here, and so on. So Carlos, did you, your parents or grandparents come from another country, and what is your G status? Also, if you have an artifact or some sort of item that you want to share with us, please do so.
So I am G0 because I was born not in the US. I think I was born in Colombia, so I was I'm definitely G0. My parents are from Colombia as well, my grandparents as well. So we're all from a different country. So yeah, that's my status. Yeah. And then I did actually have some little I did some digging, because when I went to my past trip in Colombia, I actually brought back a lot of my childhood things that I used to work on, and when I was a little kid, and it's cool. These are from like 2001, 2002, and it's like a lot of these like really cool, like this is like my actual like handwriting when I was a young kid, and these like drawings, and I thought it was the most like
so colorful.
Yeah, it's just like this is just me starting to draw and starting to like be passionate in the sense of being creative, and I think that's something that coming here opened my eyes to having that possibility to be creative and have a career in that. And I think, you know, looking at this today, I'm like, wow, like this is like when I was starting to kind of draw, and you know, I think there's one here. Yeah, this is a computer.
I love it. Oh my
God. And I think it says Windows 35.
That's great.
And this is actually, I drew this because my mom at that time had a kind of like a graphic design shop. She used to like, you know, type out all like the university students' papers, because not at that time there was no computers available in Colombia, and she had like big printers, like big like risographs, and like, you know, she was doing all these like handy just like tons of these like you know binding books, and like, you know, doing like, you know, binders with paperwork and writing all their essays. And I think that this particular, where'd it go? This particular image was based off my mom's like shop at that time, and I used to go on her computer, and like, you know, I even drew a printer here, and it was just like, yeah, I think these little things like that, it's just like that's where I get my creative, you know, energy from. And this one was my math one. Yeah, but I don't think I have anything creative in this one, except yeah, it's just like tons of math problems here.
But it's still so colorful. So that creativity kind of spilled into that.
Yeah, and I think even there's like some exercises here that they used to make us do, like a lot of like graphic design things they used to make us do, like little lines here within the grid. And I think there's one, yeah, just like typing over numbers. It's very, very very different. And then when I came to the US, it was such a different culture shock that I was in. It was a total different world coming here, and I think that, yeah, even this is like it's a grid of color. I think it's all rooted when I was a young kid, and I think that's what influences me now. And digging this up again, it's just like memories coming back to me when, you know, when I was born there and living there, and you know, it's crazy how time flies.
Yeah, and it's cool to see that full circle, you know, because you sometimes don't realize that as a kid how much you're influenced by something. So that's really neat. And also, it's a good segue. I wanted to ask you, what was your experience like coming to America, and how old were you? And
that. So the first time I moved to the U.S., I was 7 years old, and I was living in Tampa. And that's when 9/11 had happened. It was 2001, and I think I was in second grade. I was in second grade. And that's when 9/11 happened. We were there for a little bit. I think the tension in the country was very weird at that time, and just like the political climate as well. And, my parents didn't feel safe. And so we decided to move back to Columbia. And then eventually we came to Connecticut one more time, and then we went back. There's a lot of traveling back and forth. And then the last time my mom came by herself, my dad and my brother, we stayed in Columbia, and then my dad eventually sold all his businesses, etc. And then we did the final push and we moved. And I think, it's like, was here when I was like 7, 8 years old, was like the last time I was like set in stone here. So I've been here, I would say, since like I was 7 years old.
Wow.
So I've been raised most of my life here. But I do remember like living, I remember my 7 and 6 year, like, kindergarten and, all those like little tiny things I do remember. There's like these little books remind me of the things that I was doing when I was young. And so, coming here was such a different culture, experience, and getting adjusted. And, it was at a time where it's like, you grow up and you're a different kid, you're a different student, you're not from the US. It was such at first it was very much a drastic change. It was very difficult. Having to know much English. And also with the color of my skin, I was Latino. Most of the kids in my school were white. And it was you stand out, and you start to pick up those things that make you feel like you're different. But I think just pushing through and making myself known and making being a good student, a good voice, and having that my family to support me at the times that I needed it was really great to have that. And again, like, it was such a difference from coming from Colombia to the US. And I think, it's an experience. It's been an experience.
Yeah, I bet. And so out of those experiences, was there ever a moment where you were able to sort of teach someone that may have had a preconceived notion about you and where you were from? And if so, what was that?
I think it's out of all those experiences, there was like many actually. There's so many that I can, explain, to people that I come from a different country, and I come from different values, and I come from different, growing ups. And I think that a lot of my friends didn't understand that at that time when, for example, I told them that I can't do this or I can't do that. I can't go to their house and, not have that liberty, because my parents were a lot more stricter. They still implemented the rules that we lived by in Colombia. And I think that's something that kept us very grounded in that sense and kept us very responsible. But not everyone is perfect. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. But I would tell my friends that I can't, be out this late. I can't do that. I can't do this, because it's like I have to like listen to my parents, and and when I had to, be obligated, and it was difficult. Some people just didn't understand that, or like having the financial resources. Sometimes, times were tough. At times where my mom was the only caregiver at that time, and I couldn't get the newest phone. I didn't have a phone until like high school, until sophomore year in high school. So it's like a lot of kids don't understand that, and I had to tell them, and I think it felt really good to kind of like share that with them, and also like let them know it's like, hey, I can't do that because I don't have the money or don't have the resources. My parents are worried about other things. Kind
of starting from nothing, whereas you're starting new, so those challenges are definitely made more difficult for people coming from elsewhere. So so our time is coming to a close. So Carlos, I just want to thank you again for sharing your story, your immigration story with us. And everyone watching, please, I encourage you all to vote. Now is the opportune time to let your voices be heard.
And this is my first time voting.
Oh, that's so exciting.
That's why this is such an important, I tell all my friends, please go vote. There's tons of people, immigrants that come to this country and don't have a voice. And your vote matters and counts regardless of the outcome. I think it's just important to have your voice heard for other people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So everyone, please, if you enjoyed today's session, follow, subscribe to all of the Project sessions, and join us for next week, where Lorna Harris will be chatting with our guest from the United Nations, so you won't want to miss it. And thank you again. It was great to chat with you.
Good seeing you.
Yeah, same here. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.